pursuant to public laws 1971, chapter 231. This agenda is complete to the extent known. It was sent to the Trenton Times and the Trenton newspapers. Posted on the first board of the city hall and filed in the city clerk's office. Formal action will be taken in all office. Mr. Blakely.
Present.
Ms. Caldwell Wilson. Present. Mr. Harrison.
Present.
Mr. Michelle.
Present.
Mr. Rodriguez. Present. Ms. Vaughn. Ms. McBride. Present. Let us please stand for the invocation of last week. Almighty God, who holds the fate of man and nation, we most humbly beseech thee to bless this our city, these deliberations, and these thy servants, that they may act with wisdom and understanding for the good of our community and thy great glory. Amen. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First on the agenda this evening is the approval of minutes from the October 29, 2019 special meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Blakely, seconded by Mr. Harrison. Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Ms. Caldwell Wilson? Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle? Yes. Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. McBride? And Ms. Bennett. Next is your acceptance of communications, petitions, and report. There are 13 items of communications, 0 petitions, and 1 report from the city clerk's office. Monthly revenue report for November 2019. Funds collected in the amount of $2,589.85. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Blakely, seconded by Mr. Harrison. Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Caldwell Wilson? Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle? Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. McBride? Yes. And communications, petitions, and reports have been accepted. Next is unfinished business. Ordinances that are being presented for second reading and public hearing and possible adoption. First is ordinance number 19-73. Capital ordinance appropriating $6 million from the capital improvement fund to pay for the acquisition of vehicles and equipment by and for the water utility of the city of Trenton, county of Mercer, state of New Jersey. If anyone wishes to speak to this subject, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Blakely, seconded by Mr. Harrison. Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Ms. Caldwell Wilson? Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. McBride? Public hearing is closed. Let us state for the record that Ms. Vaughn has arrived at the meeting and is taking her place on the dais. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance number 19-73?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Blakely, seconded by Mr. Harrison. Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Ms. Caldwell Wilson? Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
No.
Ms. Vaughn? No. Ms. McBride? No. Ordinance number 19-73 has failed to be approved because it did require 5 affirmative votes for the members of the governing body. Next for your consideration is ordinance number 19-74, which is a bond ordinance providing for various 2019 acquisitions and improvements to the water utility of the city of Trenton and the county of Mercer, state of New Jersey, appropriating $11,800,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $11,800,000 bonds and notes of the city to finance the costs thereof. If anyone wishes to speak to this subject, please come to the podium. State your name and address for the record. Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing? Moved by Mr. Blakely, seconded by Ms. Caldwell Wilson. Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Caldwell Wilson. Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn? Yes. Ms. McBride? Public hearing on this is closed. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance number 19-74?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Blakely, seconded by Ms. Caldwell Wilson. Mr. Blakely.
Yes.
Ms. Caldwell Wilson. Mr. Harrison.
Yes.
Mr. Michelle.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
No.
Ms. Vaughn.
No.
Ms. McBride.
No.
Ordinance number 19-74 has failed due to the requirement to receive 5 affirmative votes by members of the governing body.
I have a question. President Ryan. Thank you, Council President. Can I have the representative from the administration come to the podium, please? Who can comment on the defeat of this bond ordinance?
Director couldn't make it today, so I'll try to answer it.
Well, I'm a little surprised. We have nearly $20 million on the docket in appropriations and bonds, and it would be nice if we had a director here to advocate for this. So I'm disappointed that there's no representative from the water department who could clarify the implications of the failure of these two capital ordinance as well as the bond ordinance. Can you articulate for the record the implications of the defeat of this capital ordinance and bond ordinance?
To be very honest with you, me as a business administrator, it's actually disappointing to see that ordinances such as these that are much needed for the city, especially with the water department, to be voted down after we have gone through many sessions on discussing these items. This is not the first time that this ordinance is heard in this council. As you are aware, it is actually several steps that are taken before it gets to this point. We had bond council come and explain to the council exactly what it is, what was the purpose. We had a director prior to that when it was introduced, probably 2 meetings ago. This is actually the second, if not the third action that this council is taking on these ordinances. And the last action that was taken was actually this council giving the administration the authority to go in front of the local finance board to have these put on their schedule so that these could be heard. So the meeting was held at the local finance board. The local finance board gave us the blessing to move forward with this bonding. And, it's surprising to come right after we get the okay from this council to go to the local finance board and they get voted down. I mean, a lot of work is put into here. We spend thousands of dollars in bond councils to come and actually work for the city to get these ordinances in place for this council to come and then vote. You are all aware of the issues that we're having with EDP. So this is disheartening to have these ordinances come in front of you and they get voted down for really not a good reason. I mean, we have come a long way with a lot of the positive things that have taken place, changes that are being implemented in the water department, Trenton Waterworks, equipment, machinery, personnel. We're doing our best to get out of being being stepped on by GDP, and coming and putting this in front of you and not being approved is actually a step back in the wrong direction, because this equipment is not stuff that we're buying just because we have the money. It's because infrastructure has not been well kept by former administrations. And now that we're doing the right thing to invest in equipment and perhaps vehicles, stuff that we may need for the ACO, come in front of you and then vote it down, I think we're playing with fire. It is actually a dangerous thing that we're doing. We're saying, we don't want for DEP to come and take our water, but it's almost like we're asking for them to come in and do that. It's exactly just that. So, we need to be a little bit more mindful when we're doing these things. I'm not saying that you guys think it early, and I'm not, that's not what I'm trying to say here. But I think we need to ask questions. This is why we're here. Tuesdays, we're here Thursdays, the docket meeting, that's the purpose of the docket meeting as well. So there are various opportunities for you to ask questions. You receive this, the docket, days before these meetings are due. And that's the time that you should be asking questions. Send an email. If the issue is you cannot reach out to the director, send it to the mayor designee so that we can have answers for you. But coming here and voting down these type of ordinances is very detrimental to what we're trying to achieve. And again, it is disappointing actually to have this stuff being turned
I
down.
have a couple other questions, if you don't mind. Can you describe, particularly the bond ordinance, some of the acquisitions and improvements to the water utility that were requested or mandated by the ACO? So what I'm concerned about is our adherence to the ACO as it relates to these acquisitions and improvements, and what is the possible result of this council's failure to approve by a supermajority this bond ordinance. So, are we in trouble with DEP, DCA, for not doing the upgrades? Because quite frankly, this is just not a matter of financial prudence. This is a matter of public safety, and that we are putting the Trenton Waterworks in danger of not complying with the ACO. We are therefore, not we collectively as a body, we are jeopardizing the over 150,000, the public health of the 150,000, more than 150,000 users of the Trenton Waterworks. So can you describe what are the possible public health implications of our failure to approve these various acquisitions and improvements?
So in order for the Trenton Waterworks to get to where we are right now, where DEP is coming at us with a consent order, is because the city has not done what they were supposed to with the prior administrations. They stopped investing in the equipment, filtration systems, personnel, and now that we are, I think it's been about a year now that the tests keep coming back negative, that our water is actually safe to drink. It's probably one of the best waters in the state of New Jersey. And it's actually, we're taking a step back when we do this, because you are giving us the approval for the bond to finally be sold, doesn't mean that we're going to do this right now. Notes are going to be taken probably sometime in June of next year, because that's when the city normally goes out for notes, not the bond itself. So, if you're doing it because you may not have an adopted budget, this is actually money that is coming from the utility. We're not paying the $11 million in one shot in the next couple of months, in the next year. This is something that is going to be done, annual payments are going to be done down the line. I will strongly beg this council to reconsider taking these voting on possibilities.
I don't want to dominate the city, so I give my time back to
Madam Chair.
Yes.
So, Mr. Cruz, so I voted for this, but this is actually money that we can draw down on for improvements, and not limited to heating, ventilation, air conditioning improvements, roof repairs, alarm system improvements at the water filtration plant, and the purchase and installation of fencing and roof repairs. It's also for computers, printers, and hard drives, and GIS upgrades, which we depend on to signal us when there's an emergency.
Right.
And the final design and installation of the upgrades of the super pulsator and upgrades to the laboratory at the filtration plant.
Right.
And I think that's what Councilman Joel was asking, that this is what the bonds are for, and they're necessary.
And if you look next to the column of the amount that we're actually doing, it tells you right there the useful life for each piece of equipment or repairs that we're going to be doing. Some of them is 40 years. So there's no need to do an investment, hopefully down the line for the next maybe 30, 40 years. The other one is 15 years, so it's not something that we're gonna come back to you next year and say, hey, we need another $40 million to repair the roof again. Don't forget, this is actually infrastructure that was not properly maintained or cared for by prior administration. We're trying to do the right thing to put the Trenton Waterworks in the right place so that, you know, we can get DEP off our backs. We should definitely consider, what we're trying to achieve here. If the goal is to have DEP come and, you know, have the state do special legislation to take over the waterworks, if that is what that you're trying to achieve, then you're doing a good job of it. You know, I would strongly ask that you reconsider these two ordinances. I really do.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz. Thank you so much, Mr. Cruz. Mr. Harrison, you can continue.
President McBride, I have a motion I'd like to make.
No, we're going to continue. We've passed out the rules. We're going to continue. Mr. Harrison, you continue, please.
I'd like to make a motion to reconsider ordinance 1974, bond ordinance providing for various 2019 acquisitions and improvements to the water utility of the city of Trenton and the county of Mercer, state of New Jersey, appropriating $11,800,000, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $11.8 million bonds or notes of the city to finance the cost thereof. Can I have a second, please?
Motion to reconsider ordinance number 19-74 was made by Mr. Blakely, seconded by Ms. Caldwell-Wilson. Mr. Blakely?
So, before I vote, I'd like to say something. This is a matter of public safety. Water will be less safe if we do not make the necessary upgrades to the waterworks. That is putting the health of the over 150,000 users of Trenton Waterworks at risk. The Trenton Waterworks has been maligned for years of neglect and failure to upgrade. My colleagues have spent a lot of time talking about the importance of maintaining the city of Trenton's control over the operation of the waterworks. Incumbent with that desire to maintain control of the waterworks should be our responsibility to doing what is necessary to maintain public safety and public health. Failure to approve these upgrades is irresponsible and will not be seen favorably by the DEP or the state legislature. I implore my colleagues to think about the public health of the users of this waterworks. And if that's not enough for you, please consider that you may be jeopardizing the control of this waterworks by the people of Trenton if we do not do the right thing and pass this bond ordinance. Please, we will rue this day when the public in Trenton and beyond finds out that we are being derelict in our responsibility to maintain the integrity and safety and public health of the Trenton Waterworks. I want you to know that this is not a game and that you all are playing with fire. So yes.
Ms. Caldwell-Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
No.
Ms. Vaughn?
No.
Ms. McBride? No. The motion to reconsider has been approved. So we will once again ask for a motion to adopt ordinance number 19-74, which would still require a vote by 5 members of the governing body. Is there a motion?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Blakely, seconded by Ms. Caldwell-Wilson. Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Ms. Caldwell-Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
No.
Ms. Vaughn?
No.
Ms. McBride?
No.
Ordinance number 19-74 has failed under reconsideration for failure to receive 5 affirmative votes by the bill.
I'd like to make a motion for ordinance 1973, capital ordinance appropriating $6 million from the capital improvement fund to pay for the acquisition of vehicles and equipment provided for the water utility of the city of Trenton and the county of Mercer, state of New Jersey. I'd like a second.
Mr. Blakely, you weren't clear on your motion. You just said you want to make a motion.
I want to make a motion to pass, to reconsider. I'm sorry about that. To reconsider 1973.
A motion to reconsider ordinance number 19-73 was made by Mr. Blakely, seconded by Mr. Harrison. Mr. Blakely?
I'm not going to be redundant, but everything that I said for 1974 is applicable for 1973, and I hope that my colleagues will reconsider their decision. Yes.
Ms. Caldwell-Wilson? Yes. Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
No.
Ms. Vaughn?
No.
Ms. McBride? No. The motion to approve reconsideration of ordinance number 19-73 has passed. So is there a motion to adopt ordinance number 19-73?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Blakely, seconded by Mr. Harrison. Mr. Blakely?
I want everybody to remember the time. It's 5:57 p.m. on Thursday, December 19th. When the story is told about the actions of my colleagues this evening, I want folks to remember their actions. I want them to remember folks who have failed to act on this very important public safety and public health initiative. And I want folks to remember in 2022, when we have to consider the implications of my colleagues' decisions. We are really putting the city of Trenton waterworks at risk. And I just don't understand why we're doing it, but I want folks to know who the guilty parties are and that they had 2 opportunities this evening, 1 opportunity, rather, to reconsider their initial vote. And so I say yes. Thank you.
Ms. Caldwell-Wilson? Yes. Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
No.
Ms. Vaughn?
No.
Ms. McBride? Ordinance number 19-73 has failed again under reconsideration. Next on the docket is ordinance number 19-76, which is an ordinance amending the rental property section of the Trenton City Code to provide for additional registration and occupancy data. If there's anyone that wishes to speak to this subject, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second. Moved by Mr. Blakely, seconded by Mr. Harrison. Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Mr. Caldwell-Wilson? Yes. Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Ms. McBride? Yes. Public hearing on ordinance number 19-76 is closed. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance number 19-76? Moved by Ms. Caldwell-Wilson, seconded by Mr. Harrison. Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Ms. Caldwell-Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
And Ms. McBride? Ordinance number 19-76 has been properly adopted and its publication as authorized in accordance with the law. Next on the docket is ordinance number 19-77, which is an ordinance of electronic smoking device regulations and guidelines to amend Chapter 280 tobacco and nicotine delivered products of the Trenton City Code to include regulation and licensing of the sale of electronic smoking devices. If anyone wishes to speak to this matter, please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Blakely, seconded by Mr. Harrison. Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Ms. Caldwell-Wilson? Yes. Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Ms. McBride? The public hearing on ordinance number 19-77 is closed. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance number 19-77?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Blakely, seconded by Ms. Caldwell-Wilson. Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Ms. Caldwell-Wilson? Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Ms. McBride? Ordinance number 19-77 has been properly adopted. Publication authorized in accordance with law. Next for your consideration is ordinance number 19-78, which is an ordinance transforming recreation, natural resources, and culture into a separate department and transferring inspections to the Department of Housing and Economic Development. If anyone wishes to speak to this matter, please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing? Is there a second? Second. Moved by Mr. Harrison, seconded by Mr. Rodriguez. Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Ms. Caldwell-Wilson? Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Ms. McBride? Is there a motion to adopt ordinance number 19-78?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Blakely, seconded by Mr. Harrison. Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Ms. Caldwell-Wilson? Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
No.
Ms. McBride? No. Ordinance number 19-78 has been properly adopted. And publication will be in accordance with the law. Next for your consideration is ordinance number 19-79, known as the Sunday Brunch Bill, which is an ordinance amending Article 1, licensing regulation of establishments, Chapter 10, alcoholic beverages, Section 5, restriction Part A, hours of code of the city of Trenton to adjust prohibited hours of sale for alcohol. If anyone wishes to speak on this subject matter, please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Moved by Ms. Caldwell-Wilson, seconded by Mr. Harrison. Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Caldwell-Wilson? Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Ms. McBride? Public hearing on ordinance number 19-79 is closed. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance 19-79?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Harrison, seconded by Mr. Blakely. Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Ms. Caldwell-Wilson? Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Ms. McBride? Ordinance number 19-79 has been properly adopted and will be published in accordance with law. Next for your consideration is ordinance number 19-80, the sidewalk cafe ordinance, an ordinance amending or ordinance permitting the use of sidewalk cafes. If anyone wishes to speak to this subject matter, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing? Moved by Ms. Caldwell-Wilson, seconded by Mr. Harrison. Mr. Blakely? Yes. Caldwell-Wilson? Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Ms. McBride? And public hearing on ordinance number 19-80 is closed. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance number 19-80? Moved by Ms. Caldwell-Wilson, seconded by Mr. Harrison. Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Ms. Caldwell-Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Ms. McBride? Ordinance number 19-80 has been properly adopted and will be published in accordance with law. Next for your consideration is ordinance number 19-81, which is an ordinance establishing a responsible contractor policy for the city of Trenton. If anyone wishes to speak to this subject, please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Madam President, members of council. My name is Assemblyman Lee D'Angelo, I represent the 14th Legislative District. I'm also the president of the Mercer County Building Trades Council and president and assistant business manager of the electrical local 269 here in Trenton, New Jersey. I reside in Hamilton Township. I was here 2 weeks ago speaking in support of this ordinance. I don't want to duplicate what I said 2 weeks ago, but I just want to codify what the conversation was 2 weeks ago and how it represents the state law as it is now. Currently, effective May of 2019, state law is that every contractor that's registered to do public contracting work has to be affiliated and registered with the U.S. Department of Labor Apprenticeship Training Program. That's what this ordinance also codifies. What the state law does not codify is that this ordinance has in place is OSHA safety training, 30 hours by the employer, and OSHA 10 hours for the employees. This makes it more stringent than what it is. Also, to ensure the safety of the workers that are on site, Madam President, making sure that those men and women are properly trained, registered going forward. Make sure that there's no confusion with this. This is not a union exclusive ordinance. Mercer County Vocational is around the surrounding other counties and other states have USDOL registered apprenticeship training programs. So a contractor that will come in here, big project for the city of Trenton, wherever it may be, for new construction or renovation or maintenance of existing infrastructure, this would pertain to them. This would ensure that the men and women that would come out to the project would be registered company in the TOL apprenticeship training program. Those men and women have that opportunity to learn their craft under a approved program, not just learning on the job as they go. This is the way for the city of Trenton to save money. They save the money by having registered apprentices on the program, on the job. They're allowed under the state of New Jersey Prevailing Wage Act to be paid at a reduced rate. So that rate is they earn as they learn and they're doing the project. Very good, going forward, very promising. A lot of the city jobs that are going on that the state is doing right now, with the health and agriculture project, and taxation or using contractors that are registered with the USDOL program, as well as I said last week, we recently completed Central High School. There's been some miscommunication. This does not infringe on the existing employees that the ASME or CWA would represent the public sector workers. It does not infringe on their scope of work that they're performing. It just says if you're coming in to do work in the city of Trenton or coming in any municipality that has this ordinance, that you will provide by that training program that the USDO will have. This is an opportunity for young men and women to learn their craft, learn it locally. And as I said before, this is not a union exclusive. Contractors do not have to be union to register themselves. They can go right on the Mercer County Vocational if they're located here in the city of Trenton. Do a bid if they're a successful low bidder on the project. They'll be able to perform that craft work. I had seen some information from John Harmon, who's not supportive of this ordinance. But Mr. Harmon is able to understand is that this is already state law. It doesn't restrict any contractor from a sole proprietor to the person that has 100, 200, 300, 500 individuals working from affiliated with the apprenticeship training program. Madam President, with that being said, thank you for your time. And if I have any questions that the council members may have. Thank you, Madam President.
Good evening, Madam President, Tracy Syfax, 235 East Front Street, Trenton, New Jersey. Here to speak against Ordinance 19 that I said on. I made some comments on Tuesday, so I'm not going to repeat those. But I just want to also mention the fact that when we talk about small contractors, those who do work, I recently completed a public job and I paid for better wage. That's the state law. I just want to share some numbers with you. Because when we talk about this stuff here, you got to talk about sometimes contractors don't get paid 30, 60, 90, 120 days. Typically, small contractors have to carry that load. So let's talk a little bit about the prevailing wage and what we pay right now. I recently did a project where it cost me 4 guys $1,740 per day, $8,800 per week, $35,000 per month. That's what my payroll was. I didn't get it down the deposit up front. And typically you don't do that when you do these project labor agreements and these prevailing wages. The fact of the matter is that I said it before and I'll say it again. This is a simple money grab. I can compare what's happening right now to when they took the vocational school out of Trenton. If we know we're going to build the city of Trenton, why do we continue to hand over stuff? So we want to talk about, let's have a conversation for you. Because I came from the roofing. Local 38 when I started out in 1993. The only white guy in the whole shop, the only black guy in the whole shop. 28 members. 28, the only black guy in the whole shop, union shop. Within 3 years, rose to be the supervisor. Left after 3 years to start my own company. And I say that to say that the unions have never been friends to blacks and minorities. Now, we can provide some example of how this works. Let's go see it. Let's go down to labor ministry right now. Let's see how many locals and minorities are working there. Let's go to the other building on Wilson. Let's see how many minorities and locals are working there. If we're going to implement these type of policies, I believe we need to show some proof of where this works for the city of Trenton and where this works for blacks and minorities here in the city. Because over the years, I haven't seen the union be friendly to, especially when we talk about the electrical union. They don't even represent the state, not only the city of Trenton. This is saving money, right? And I ask that council would just consider, I don't even know why council would even produce and submitted something like this. It's a slap in the face. It's a slap in the face, especially when you still have not negotiated city workers' contracts. Just right here is a slap in the face of civil money, right? And ask council that you should all vote down. 7 of us, we all vote down. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Council. My name is Michael Malone, business manager of Thomas Piper's local line. I reside at 7 Usually Court in Hamilton Township, New Jersey. Town that connects Trenton. With all due respect, I couldn't disagree more with the gentleman who just spoke, because he has no idea what he's talking about. The prevailing wage is the law of the land. So you can't skirt the prevailing wage. And the prevailing wage is the union wage, to the penny. So it won't cost you more. This is a simple ordinance. It's about putting city residents to work. He says, just go down to labor industry, get down to the other building. How about let's go to Trenton High? Or there's PLA on here with the SDA, School Development Authority. In the interest of full disclosure, I sit on this SDA. Every goal was met. Every single goal that the state put out was met. City residents hiring, county residents hiring, women being hired, minorities being hired. Every single goal was met. You can look it up. It's public information. But I ask this, gentlemen, where was he at when the Roman project was being built? There's EDA money in there. That meant that the prevailing wage had to be paid. Not one resident from the city of Trenton, I think, worked in that job. Not one. Maybe one. Where was everybody at then? Why was nobody screaming about that job? It was in your backyard. It took a year and a half to build. You had to pay the prevailing wage. They were all from out of state, or up north, or down south. This will ensure that city residents can go to work in the town they live in, and they can spend it where they make it. Please do not be misinformed by people that, unfortunately, don't have the right information. So, with that, Madam Chairman, I conclude my report.
Hi, good evening. My name is Manuel Hernandez. Thank you for listening to what we have to say about this. I would like to cancel to reconsider this new ordinance. We are local contractors in the city of Trenton. We employ local people. We see people coming from outside. They really like to see a change. I'm in favor of unions and everything and all that, but I'm more in favor of local contractors. People that are here day and night, breaking their backs, doing the work for the city of Trenton, doing the work around the city of Trenton. And if we put any more burden, any more paperwork in front of small contractors like us, who have, besides getting the job, having to do the job, having to get paid for it, we don't have a staff behind us like all these big companies that probably run business happen. We don't have the staff to do any of this. We don't need any more paperwork. We have enough of workers done with all types of insurance, vehicle insurance, liability insurance, state regulations.
building codes and all of that. This is regular burden on local contractors, especially responsible contractors. If you have proven yourself to be a responsible contractor, you should be allowed to work for the city of Trenton. You know, like, it's a state fact that I know for years, been here for many, many years doing good work. I'm not saying I'm doing good work, because I don't want to speak for myself, but it's other people that really doing the work, doing good work, and we don't need to put any more burden on small companies that really employ local people. I employ local people. Everybody that works for me lives here in the city of Trenton. Thank you.
Good evening, Madam President, City Council members. My name is Sonia Wilkins. I live on Burke Avenue, Trenton, New Jersey. I just have a few things to say with regard to this. It makes you wonder, what is the real agenda with so many people that do not reside in the city of Trenton concerned about policy and contracting in the city of Trenton? It is time that our local small businesses in this city are given an opportunity. So many times have they been looked over and over again. I am, or I was, a member of the ASME Local 2286, and I am currently a retired employee, but I still stand in solidarity with ASME Local 2286 in regards to them and to their contract being resolved. But I think it's time out that Trenton is not good enough place to live, but a good enough place to want their money and to do business. I have no problem with anyone wanting to do business with the city. That's a plus, and that's a good thing. But it's time that we concentrate on local, small businesses. They deserve a chance, they deserve a shot. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Good evening, Council. My name is Joseph McKinney. I live at 3D Armworks Way in Trenton. I'm a member of IBW Local 269. I've been a member for 13 years. I was actually a part of the Trenton High project. I served as a shop steward of about 60 men. I just want to say the PLA on that job did allow Trenton residents to work in there. And in my time serving the union, that was the most Trenton residents I've ever seen on one job at one time. I think the city can also make some improvements to help people want to stay here, because there are members that we have in our local who did start in Trenton, but they eventually move out because the quality of life is not as good as other places. So I think the accountability is not just on the contractor, but on the council as well. And I think that you guys try harder to work better with maybe the contractors and residents, maybe even Mr. Sidex over here, we could do things a little bit better. But I think we got to start there first, because people that live in Trenton, they get the local electricians and then they move out. We have plenty of alumni on that job, especially the electricians. I see a lot of laborers who are also on that job who are Trenton residents. So I think the PLA was a great thing. It's not keeping contractors out. In fact, I attended all the meetings for the building of the high school, and me and another guy worked hard to try and get the trades back in the school, because I realized the opportunity that it gave me. So I think we need to work more together instead of fighting each other to do the best for these kids, because I was one of those kids, and I continue to help out in the city. I'm back here, I bought a home here, I coach baseball, I do Big Brother and Big Sister program, but the problem is much bigger than a simple PLA. We need to do better as a whole, coming from Trenton. Thank you.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
How you doing? I'm going to first of all, Marvin Mullen. I do own property in the city of Trenton. 459 West Andover, 900 Edgewood, 76 Bellevue. So I own several properties in the city of Trenton. I am the president of ASPE, New Jersey, Council 63, and which represents the two locals here in the city of Trenton. The problem that I have with this ordinance is, why are we going to spend money and give to outside contractors? Because that's what they are. And we got city workers who live here in the city that has been without a contract for almost over a year. So if you're going to spend, I think in this one they said $500,000, that's $500,000. If you're going to spend more than $500,000 on several contracts, then why not settle a contract with workers that live right here in the damn city of Trenton? These people have been working without a raise for almost 2.5 years. They have not negotiated their benefits for over 2.5 years. They have not negotiated bonuses for over 2.5 years. And with the high cost of living, workers need raises. So if these workers need raises, I'm not, like I said, I don't know much about contracts and bids, but I just don't understand why you're going to spend money to outside contractors when you got city workers in the city of Trenton that live in the city of Trenton, spend their money in the city of Trenton, that are demanding raises to feed themselves and their families so they continue to live and to have a better life in the city of Trenton. That's all I'm asking for. I know all you council people, I speak to you on a regular basis. You guys was elected by the city residents, who have city jobs, who live here and spend money in the city. They elected you to make decisions on behalf of their interests and their benefit. So I'm saying, if you're going to pass an ordinance, it says an ordinance establishing a responsible contract policy for the city of Trenton. This is dealing with contractors. Why not table this ordinance? And why don't you sit down with the local contractors that's in here today, and even Angelo's contracting company. If you're going to establish a responsible contractor policy, then you sit down with them and let them and you guys establish the policy together. Because this policy was written without none of their input. And these guys have been doing contract jobs in the city of Trenton for years and years. I know Tracy Seidman has been doing contracts for years and years in the city of Trenton. So let him have an input on what you call a responsible contractor policy for the city of Trenton. Let the other small contractors in the city have an input on the responsible contractor policy for the city of Trenton. Instead of dictating to them and taking away some of their rights. Because there's some things in here that they just don't agree with. There's some things in here, like I've read this, that the average citizen would not understand. All contractors or contractors that perform significant work on any public facility project shall be required to affirmatively provide evidence of and confirm compliance with proofs of participation in an apprenticeship program currently registered and approved by the United States Department of Labor or the New Jersey Department of Labor, or submit a statement of agreement not to employ any worker of less than journeyman status on the project. What does that mean? What is a journeyman status? The average citizen in contract, people don't know what that means. So sit down with the local contractors and the outside contractors and come up together with a responsible, contractor policy for the city of Trenton. After you negotiate the contract for the city workers and the city employees here so that they can live in this city and provide for their families and continue to live in this city. And that's all we asking for. Captain Pride is sincere to the city. Vaughn is sincere to the city. Santiago, George Michelle, business in the city. Harrison, Marge, Jarrell, I know your family, Bob. You're all city residents. So all I'm asking as a union leader and on behalf of the city workers is before you spend money on outside contracts, because we don't know where these jobs is going to. I mean, when I look on the trades union's website, I'm gonna be honest, I really didn't see none of us city residents when I looked on the website. Not to say that none of us is there, but I didn't see any of us, and I don't know any of us who are part of that live here in the city of Trenton. And I think any interest in the city of Trenton, like the young lady said, any interest in the city of Trenton should be first given to the city residents and not given to nobody from the outside first. I'm not saying they can't come in, because the city of Trenton needs help. But let's look at the city residents that live here and provide a job here in the city of Trenton first. That's why you was elected. You was elected by city residents. You weren't elected by nobody from Hamilton or Ewing or Princeton. They couldn't vote for you. The people who voted for you was people who live here in the city of Trenton and got property or resident or rent here in the city of Trenton. That's who voted for you. If you want them to continue to vote for them and support them on issues that's sincere to them. And the issue right now is we do not want to spend millions of dollars on outside contracts until we settle and make our city residents here happy first. Then we look to the outside for assistance to come in, because I'm sure there's a lot of work that needs to be done in the city of Trenton. There's some contracts that need to come and help, but let's provide for our city first. And that's all we ask for. And I thank you guys. You guys are serving us well. Continue to serve us well. Thank you. Peace.
Good evening. I'm Edmund Johnson, and I live at 829 Pennsylvania Avenue, and I'm the president of Ashland Local 221. There is a deep concern here concerning 1981. And I would ask this council to reject 1981 until the city of Trenton can come to the table and have a contract for the workers of the city of Trenton. We must also understand that, and what really concerns me is that there was a time when the individual who is a proponent of this bill had the nerve to say that he wanted a board for the water department. There is a concern here. Now he comes around again, now he wants labor in the city of Trenton. Let's be astute here. Let's be real here. That we have citizens in this city, we have residents in this city who does not even have a job. But we are bringing people from on the outside to take the resources that we have in the city of Trenton. How does it benefit the city of Trenton? Do they pay taxes to the city of Trenton? I don't believe so. They take the money and they run out. We have union members who are required to reside in the city of Trenton for 15 years before they can move out. So the city of Trenton does get the resources back by virtue of having that individual reside in the city of Trenton. I'm asking this council tonight to reject 1981 until we can really look into it and have our members with contract. That's all I have to say to you tonight.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak to this matter?
Good evening, City Council. My name is Johnny Bennett. I'm a City of Trenton resident, lifetime City of Trenton resident. And about 15 years ago, I was given the opportunity to join a local organized labor movement, Local 9, and it was a life-changing opportunity for me. And I can attest they've given me plenty of opportunities to work inside the City of Trenton. And it was been a great opportunity for me, and I agree with this. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Anyone else? Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Blakely, seconded by Mr. Harrison. Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Ms. Caldwell-Wilson? Yes. Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Ms. McBride? Yes. Public hearing on ordinance number 19-81 is closed. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance number 19-81?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Blakely, seconded by Ms. Caldwell-Wilson. Mr. Blakely?
I have something I'd like to say before I go. So there's a few things that I'd like to discuss that the public should know. The word union does not appear anywhere in this ordinance. I looked. What it says is responsible contractor, which can be a union, which may not be a union, but it refers to contractors who do work on behalf of the city. In Trenton, we cannot mandate legally any sort of preference for local contractors. We can't. So this whole idea that this ordinance is favoring outside contractors is just not correct. It's not true, because you cannot favor legally local contractors. And this actually brings me to my next point. Trenton, 60% of our budget, of the city of Trenton's budget, comes from outside of the city of Trenton. 60%. Only about 40% of our budget comes from taxes. 90% of our school budget comes from outside of the city. There is so much external investment in this city that I don't understand how people can act like Trenton is sustaining itself by itself. And so this idea that we have to be anti-everyone else to be pro-Trenton is just not correct. Quite frankly, I am appalled by some of the anti-union rhetoric that I'm hearing. Many people are juxtaposing the Ask Me Local and their fight for a contract. I completely support labor. I work for the NJA. I support the labor union. But the idea that we are criticized, or some unions are criticizing other unions who are just seeking the protections that they have as union members is unfair. So the idea is actually saying we need a contract. What a prevailing wage does is that it sets a standard so that workers are not exploited, that workers are respected. I'm not interested in empowering a few local millionaires. I'm interested in making sure that workers benefit from the prosperity generated by city contractors. So it can't just be a matter of empowering the business owner of a small contracting firm. What's the use of that if the people who are working on the projects are not benefiting from the projects and are not being paid a fair and living wage? Union employees in the city of Trenton have a prevailing wage. They have a contract. They have steps that they make every year. And I completely concur with their fight for a contract. But that is not a city council prerogative. That is an administration prerogative. City council doesn't have anything to do with approving or affirming a city contract. That is an administration role. So that goes to the point made by some folks. Right now, this money is already being spent on outside contracts. So this would not affect any work that is being done presently by city workers. What this does, in fact, is make sure that if somebody is hired locally, that they are being paid a fair and living wage. All too often, we have contractors who come into this city who get a little bid because that no bid is built on the back of underpaying workers. And I think that this ordinance is something that would ensure that any money that we're spending, we're making sure that it is being done by folks who are trained, who are qualified. All too often, my colleagues have complained about shoddy work done by outside contractors. They have complained about change orders. Central to stopping change orders and shoddy workmanship is actually hiring people who are qualified, who are trained. And so that's another point that I'd like to make. I just hope that we support the health and safety initiatives here. We cannot be nativist in terms of bad-mouthing outside folks who work when so much of our budget comes from outside of the city of Trenton. And I would say personally that labor has been the pathway to the middle class of many people in the city. I never thought I would see the day where we had people who benefited from being a part of labor, who are members of unions, decrying the opportunity for people to have a living wage. Because right now, we are, with this ordinance, would be ensuring that people have the protections that they deserve, that they are treated with dignity and respect. As I mentioned, the word union doesn't appear anywhere in this ordinance. I looked, maybe I missed it, but it's not a so-called union. But I am concerned about the anti-union rhetoric that is being utilized to support a bill that simply seeks to dignify labor and respect labor. And for that reason, I vote yes.
Ms. Caldwell-Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle? Mr. Rodriguez?
No.
Ms. Vaughn?
I just want to say, I have a question before I cast my vote. I'm not anti-union, and I'm certainly not anti-labor. I was raised by a mother and father. My mother worked for Heinemann Electric Company. She was an electrical union. She was a member of electrical union. My father worked for almost 40 years as a department of corrections. So he was part of a public employees union. So I come from a working class family. Been in this city for 3 generations. Actually, my grandparents were entrepreneurs. They ran their own businesses. So my grandfather depended on getting contracts. But what I want to see here, what I see with this ordinance, is that it gives an unfair advantage to certain working groups, let's just say that. And my duty as an elected official here in the city of Trenton is to ensure that the residents of the city are employed and that the taxpayer dollars of the city stays in the city. So this ordinance does not facilitate that. Every single union that's part of the construction trades union, 99.9% of their membership lives outside of Trenton. All the capital improvement projects that we have on the plate around our building up our water infrastructure, I believe our public works department can say we have in excess of almost over 100 million projects. I mean, $100 million projects that are coming down the pipe. And we are going to be sourcing contracts all over the place. We do that today. As you look at our document, you see that we bring on and do business with contractors all the time. So, and that comment kind of segue into what I want to discuss, is that across every single government, across the local level, county, state, federal, have an established competitive bid process for everyone in our nation who wants to do business with a government
government entity must follow. Here in the city of Trenton, we have that competitive bid process. It's called fair and open procurement process. And the journeyman can go through that process and bid on contracts in this city like everyone else. We do business with folks and entities, individual owned proprietors, small, medium, and large businesses. I would say throughout this country. We have contracts in Texas, we have contracts in Ohio, we have contracts in New York, and all over New Jersey. So I just want to know, does current day, and I can ask Mr. Cruz, what is it that our procurement process today, are there shortcomings in our procurement process that it needs to be supplemented by this ordinance? Does anything in our procurement process preclude the journeyman or trade union that have skilled workers of journeyman status from competing competitively for business in the city of Trenton? Business Administrator Cruz, can you answer that question? Okay. Well, I suspect that the federal government and the competitive, the fair and open procurement process works for everyone. And on that note, I will vote no.
Ms. McBride? No. On ordinance number 19-81 is passed. Next, under consideration is ordinance number 19-82, which is an ordinance amending chapter 816 of rules of procedure. Rule 2, meetings, council conference. If anyone wishes to speak to this subject, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. If you are leaving the meeting, please proceed out quietly. Council is still in session. Seeing none, is there a motion to close this public hearing? Moved by Mr. Blakely, seconded by Ms. Caldwell-Wilson. Mr. Blakely? Yes. Ms. Caldwell-Wilson? Mr. Harrison? Mr. Michelle? Mr. Rodriguez? Yes. Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Mr. Brown? Public hearing on ordinance number 19-82 is closed. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance number 19-82? Moved by Ms. McBride. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Rodriguez. Mr. Blakely? Ms. Caldwell-Wilson? Mr. Harrison? Mr. Michelle? Yes. Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Mr. Blakely?
I would like to speak in opposition to this ordinance. I think that this is another attempt to empower the council president, which I think is not correct. I think that this further consolidates power through the docket review session in her hands. This is a democratic body. I think it's important that we share power democratically. And I think that if my colleague is opposed to an ordinance or resolution, that they should exercise their judgment and vote against it. But to hold it up for the consideration of this body for something as vague as, I'm going to read here, if any item is removed from the agenda or docket during the docket review, it will not be presented for reconsideration until the study has been completed or the requested information has been provided. It says here, study has been study has been completed. Well, that is in the eye of the beholder. One person may think that the study is complete. Another person may have a disagreement. And so I believe that we should be able to vote on things without having it go through President McBride's consideration. This is just not President McBride. I think council can have the right to consider issues. Personally, I don't need anybody to make a decision for me. I can arrive to a conclusion on my own. I certainly don't need one of my colleagues to tell me if I can consider something or not. And so, I'm looking throughout this. Yeah, I mean, I just think that this just further gives her more power. And I think that she's attempting to do by ordinance what the city charter does not give her the power to do. And I'm going to be conferring with law departments to see if this is legal, because this really concentrates all of the power. I was opposed to it when she made her first initial changes to the rules of procedure to give her power. I'm opposed to it. I'm opposed to this further amendment to the rules of procedure to remove an item from the council agenda. We should be able to decide it ourselves. But that's where it is, and I'm just so disappointed. I hope the mayor vetoes it. I hope he vetoes it. I hope he says no. This is tyranny. It's just ridiculous. So I vote no.
Ms. McBride?
Mr. Harris, I want to change my vote.
So sorry.
Sorry,
Mr. Harrison?
Mr. Harris. Yes, please change my vote, no.
We vote. Ms. McBride?
Yes, Mr. Harris, I would just like to speak something into the record, and I'm not going to be long-winded, but the fact that you ask for information to be given to you, and if it's not provided to you by the administration, the item can be pulled. My colleague, he benefited from that more than anyone on his dais. When he first came on, he put about 5 or 6 ordinances and resolutions up, and they were all wrong. And so, as the council president, I pulled them to give him the opportunity to correct, because he was doing a lot of cut and pasting from other municipalities that did not fit into the state guidelines for Trenton. So, behind the scenes, he calls me up and thanked me for pulling the resolutions and the ordinances that he had put on that was totally wrong. And then he get up here and he starts stunning in front of the residents. He is so disingenuous to his sickening, because he, more than anyone else, benefited from the fact that I pulled it to keep him from putting up ordinances and resolutions that were not in alignment with the state regulations and with the city code. So when we ask for information to be given to us, we want the administration to provide that information. And that's all this change is saying. If you ask the administration to provide information to you, then the administration should provide it, and we can move on. And I'm just going to give you one example, and then I'll be finished. We had 2 resolutions that come before us for the police department. The first one was for a roof. They said they had to have a roof because the roof was leaking over the paperwork. The next time, that was for $258,000 or a little more. roughly over 200,000. Then they came back in 2 weeks with another resolution to put on a solid board roof for the police station. That was about 42,000. Then they came back with a third resolution for another roof to be put on for $350,000. And my question to the administration was, you had almost came to the council for $1 million to put one roof on the police station. Show me and tell me what your plan is for that police station on Clinton Avenue. It is antiquated, the cells, everything in it is not fit for human consumption. And so I asked them to show me what their plan was, rather than to keep patching up roofs on that police station. Tell me what we're going to do with that station. So they never told me. Instead, they took me to court because they didn't want to offer me an explanation about why they keep asking for over almost $1 million for one roof. And so, yes, we do need things in writing. We do need the administration to respond, because when they don't respond, we are left in the dark. And until this day, we still don't know what the plans are for the police station on Clinton Avenue. But something has to be done. We put a roof on Trenton High, and 6 months later, they tore the building down with a brand new roof on it. And I asked the administration, show me what your plans is for the police department, for that police station on Clinton Avenue, and they didn't, and so I did not put it back on the docket. And those are examples of why things don't make it back to the docket. So I just wanted to put that out there, and I have already placed my vote as a yes. Thank you.
Ordinance number 19-82 has passed and will be published in accordance with the law. Next for your consideration is ordinance number 19-83, which is an ordinance amending chapter 2-2 at second, creating and expanding the number of assistant city attorneys and legal assistants in the Department of Law necessary to support the city attorney. If anyone wishes to speak to this matter, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing? Moved by Ms. Caldwell-Wilson, seconded by Mr. Harrison. Mr. Blakely?
Prior to me voting, I'd like to make a statement in response to President Ryan, who had,
In relation to closing the public hearing?
I'm just using this as an opportunity.
No, we're closing the public hearing, sir.
I know.
So, you don't have the floor. You do not have the floor.
I'll look for my vote. Yes. I'll look for my vote this time. You should relax.
Ms. Caldwell-Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez? Yes. Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
And Ms. McBride?
Yes.
The public hearing on 19-83 is closed. Is there a motion to adopt
I have
ordinance
a-
19? Motion to adopt
Well, you want
ordinance?
to give chances for anybody to even raise their hand to be acknowledged that we have a comment on something.
You want to comment on 19-19?
I actually wanted to go back and comment on 8.2, because I'm looking at the ordinance, and I had suggested a change that I gave to the clerk's office, and it's not there. Although I support the ordinance, but I asked for language to be changed, and it was never updated. But it's not reflected. The clerk's office.
Absolutely wasn't. Yes, it was.
No, I'm looking at it now. It's on my computer. I don't see the change. That it, ordinance amending chapter 8, 316, rules of procedure, rule 2. We were going to change who is a member of council to shall be a member of council.
That's correct. That is the language in the ordinance.
I apologize.
For President Ryan, I have, since my colleague was able to make a comment related to 1982, I'd like to make a comment as well. Thank you, President Ryan. So my point, first I'd like to say that I appreciate your guidance I appreciate your insight, and I appreciate your suggestions. I totally agree that sometimes you're correct. But the fact of the matter is, what you should do is request for someone who is authored the ordinance to pull. You shouldn't have the power unilaterally to make that decision. If the ordinance is what it is, then you have the ability to vote against it. That's my point. And so I definitely appreciate your insight. I'm not in the witness, and so I'm definitely going to have some opportunities where I'm going to learn. But for you to use that as an opportunity to consolidate power and unilaterally pull ordinances when you should be working collaboratively with members of this council to approve their ordinances is a different story. And so I definitely appreciate that I am learning the process and that I have plenty more time to do so. Thank you.
Regarding 19-82, BRS was pulled off the docket for a while. And let's not forget Princeton. It's in the back of my head. Jobs, people up here said we were going to go to jail. And they said, we got the information, it was pushed down the road. So we're going to be, be genuine here. Let's start keep moving the city forward. Because that was a debacle. I mean, if anybody in this room can see it, we lost jobs. We had an opportunity to move the rolling tree forward, and we did. And it was a disgrace because there's people going to go to jail, and it's embarrassing the way we did that. And I agree with Mr. Blakely. We got to be careful every time we're pulling stuff off. We got to remember that this city needs to move forward. And we keep pulling everything and we're holding the city back. Prime example tonight, you've got the capital ordinance 19-73, 19-74. You have people out here talking about moving the city forward. These are two things that we need to get done, and we're not doing it. Thank you.
And when I was President Ryan,
Is there a motion to adopt ordinance number 19-83?
Before we do that, I just have a question there. What's the language?
We have to make a motion and then get a second to make a comment. So the motion, I'll make the motion.
Moved by Ms. McBride, seconded by Mr. Rochelle.
Now, Councilwoman Vaughn.
Yes. The same 1983 also was just a language change. And I just want to make sure that language change was actually executed. There was a reference there of preference, that residents are giving preference of employment in the law department. And I was given the guidance that the word preference kind of sets up the city for potential lawsuits because preference is not given to anyone. That's a discriminatory term. What we do in the city when we hire, we do not give preference. Our employment is based on conditions, and that's around our residency laws. Even in that, the condition is based on a hierarchy, a priority, not an exclusionary process, such as an action based on preference. So I would ask Council President McBride to reconsider that language in this particular ordinance, because that is not what the city of Trenton is about. We do not discriminate in our employment practices, and we certainly don't apply preferences to anyone.
So do you want to make a motion to amend?
Yeah, actually I did, and I was wondering, Mr. Harris, was that change made?
Yes, when you introduced this ordinance, you asked that the line, the attorney is hired for the position of assistant city attorney, need not comply with section 2-95 of the city code regarding residency, although residence, and then it says residence, you exit that whole sentence, be stricken, and it has been stricken.
No, the next sentence says, residents of the city of Trenton shall receive preferential treatment in the hiring process.
You didn't mention that, wasn't it?
No, we did, and,
Excuse me, Council, that was not the request.
no, we did, that's when you said, Council President McBride, that you wanted to keep that.
No. I kept the line that said, the non-filing.
Yeah, exactly, that's the line that I have a question about, and I said, and I still have a question about it, because preferential treatment is not what we do in the city. It's illegal to act.
So it's the motion to amend.
Yes, I do. So moved, motion to amend ordinance 1983.
Well, the motion has already been moved and seconded. It's already been, you've already gone through the public hearing. So you wish to withdraw
The motion.
So, Mr. Clark, you withdraw your motion?
Yes.
So I will have to ask the attorney if you would consider that to be a significant change.
My concern is that I agree with Councilwoman. I agree with the Councilwoman to write that.
Because they pay money.
Okay.
Mr. Cohen, that's
That's
not.
All right. Okay. Great. So the proposed change in the wording is in effect significant. There is a significant legal distinction between preferences and conditions. Correct? Consequently, if there's going to be a substantive change, significant change, then under the Open Public Meetings Act, then we need to go back and redraft and advertise a revised ordinance. That's my opinion.
Madam President, right?
Yes, Madam.
But I would think because there's such a significant definition between preference and conditions in a hiring process, that we would want to go back and make that amendment, because using the word preference in hiring puts the city at risk for lawsuits, which can cost us dearly. So I think it would be worthwhile for us to take the time to make that change.
So what is the intention of the desire of the body? So these are your options. You can table this until you do further work on it, or you can make a motion to amend, either which one of this ordinance will still need to be republished before you can have a hearing. You have to have another hearing before it can be adopted.
So the best thing is to amend it. You want to make a motion to amend, Councilwoman?
I'll make a motion. Motion to amend ordinance 1983.
Okay, but please specifically state for the record what your motion is. What are you amending?
I'm amending chapter 2-22, removing the sentence that says residents of the city of Trenton shall receive preferential treatment in the hiring process.
So a motion has been made to amend ordinance number 19-83 to strike out the single sentence, residents of the city of Trenton shall receive preferential treatment in the hiring process.
In addition to, but we're still going to remain striking the attorneys hired for the position of assistant attorney and city attorney need not comply with section 2-95 of the city code regarding, that remains.
That's already been stricken.
Okay, very well.
So is there a second to the motion made by Ms. Vaughn?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Rodriguez. Mr. Blakely?
Before I vote, I'd like to say I'm very happy that my colleagues are avoiding lawsuits. Yes.
Ms. Caldwell-Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle? Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Ms. McBride? So ordinance number 19-E3 will be amended, it will be republished, it will have another public hearing and possible adoption.
Mr. Harris, I would like to, move ordinance 19-85 next, put a motion on to move that next, to move that next. I would like to put a motion to move ordinance 19-85 next on the agenda.
So moved.
Motion moved by Mrs. McBride, seconded by Mr. Blakely.
That's an ordinance continuing certain decisions without going to therefore setting forth certain regulations for the implementation of these measures for, and that's going to be asking for number 2281. Yeah, okay. Would be a introduction.
So Mr. Blakely, with the new
That is why I wanted to move it next, as I voted on.
So the motion is to change the order of the day to consider ordinance number 19-85 next in the agenda. Moved by Mrs. McBride, seconded by Mr. Rodriguez. Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Ms. Caldwell-Wilson? Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Ms. McBride? And the motion has passed.
The reason that I wanted to do 1980, but excuse me, I don't know anybody else. But we had spoken to this on Tuesday. The fact that we had a Trentonian in the water department with the highest license as a T4, and they wanted to offer her $118,000 over the long run, but yet and still, the previous administration and the current administration brought wage trim in, and they started their people off with $160,000. But here you have a young lady in the city of Trenton with the highest license that you could get for her department as a superintendent, and they want to start her with $111,000. As I said Tuesday, this is a slap in the face. And you talk about not meeting the ACO. This is why people leave with their license, because you want to bring a company in that was taking all of their money back to Michigan, not spending a dime here in the city, but yet still you have a Trentonian that's the head of that department. She is the water treatment plant superintendent, and you only want to give her $111,000 when you have been paid wage trim for the last 3 years $160,000 per person, not just one individual, per person. And this is something that the unions need to look at, but it's something that the council can fix, because we do set ranges, we do set the salary ranges. And I'm telling you that this is a slap in the face, and I asked Mr. Cruz and them to bring his salary up to $125,000 for this young lady, and then make the bottom line the $160,000. Then they came back with $111,000, but it was okay to pay Wade Trim $160,000. No, this is unacceptable. The council can set that range, and we need to set that range for $125,000 for this young lady.
President Brown.
Yes.
I appreciate your point. I support what you're saying, but it's also important to note that salary is one part of compensation. And when you look at her entire compensation package, including her pension, her health care, it's probably a lot more than $160,000 when you look at days off, when you look at all of the benefits. When you look at all the benefits, compensation is just one part. Even though I support what you're saying, I think you're 100% correct. But,
I just think that.
and your point as well, you say compensation is more than just salary.
And I get that. It comes with the package. But I just think
In
that.
addition to healthcare, if she has a family, could be $40,000 to $50,000 on top of her salary. Then when you start talking about exhaust, you start talking about pension, you start talking about the institutional costs, the legacy costs that she has for the city. Whether you pay her pension in perpetuity, whatever. So it's just important to know. So
Right, and I take that information in stride, and what I also want to express is that when you have other companies writing them letters to get them out of the city of Trenton, because these licenses are rare, and it's not a lot of people in the state of New Jersey that's carrying these licenses, and so, Mr. McIntyre spoke to that on Tuesday, stating that they get letters every week from other municipalities trying to draw them.
And to your point, that's why it's important to pay our directors a good salary, because I'm sure that their talents would be appreciated in other communities. And that's one reason why I think the mayor increased the mayoral director appointments for the various rationale that you were mentioning, to retain talent. And so my colleagues have been fiercely opposed to making sure that our directors are compensated fairly.
No, they were fiercely opposed to how they got the raise. None of them were against the raise.
Point taken. We're making a lot of points today, but I'm just throwing it out there.
And
You say me nuts.
This is a lifelong Trentonian, and that's another thing too.
So, Madam President, to your point,
By the way, Mr. Cruz, you're a Trentonian, right?
that is correct.
Thank you.
Madam President, to your point, the numbers the ranges that were written at the previous, for the Tuesday meeting were actually incorrect. That was not the intent of the administration. Unfortunately, I don't have the salary that is going to be paid to the individual who has the position. I don't know how much is being offered, but I do know that on top of the base salary, I'm not going to say medical because we all get medical, but the individual will get an additional, and this is what we were conferring with the union president, that the person will, on top of the base salary, they will also be receiving an additional $28,000 on top of the base salary for standby time. So it's additional, aside from the base, there's an additional $28,000 that it's not something that is optional, it's actually written in the union contract that this individual will get that extra amount of money as well.
Right, but I'm
So
saying that the starting salary.
So when you calculate the base plus the incentive for on-call, you're looking at almost $150,000. And that is not reflected on the salary ordinance because, as I mentioned, that is something that was worked out with the unions during union negotiations. And then, you take into consideration her, the year that she's been there, it really.
It's really an insult that you was wanting to give her 86,000. That's what it really is. It's an insult. So I'm just opposed to the 111. I think it should be.
She's not gonna, Madam President, she's not going to be put in at the. I don't want to talk on the record about the salary because I said I don't know what the actual number is, but I can assure you that the starting salary is not where she will be placed. I just don't have the figure to give you.
So,
That is just a range.
so I just want to be clear here. As Council President has stated, that the top, we would like for our professionals in the city of Trenton who have obtained the highest license to be competitive in the marketplace. And based on what we paid our contractors, we paid them at the top of the scale, aligning them with the marketplace. And we want the same number for this individual. And that number is $160,000. That's what it is. So, and I will say also, I never worked for government, but I'm going to go on a limb here and say that when we book compensation, when you come and negotiate your salary, and you as well, Mr. Cruz, no one says, Rob and Vaughn, we're going to pay you a starting base salary of, $125. And we really want to pay you $150, but with all the other incentives, your bonus, stock options, and etc., will get you to your base salary. That doesn't work for any executive. My base salary is my base salary, and then every other line item thereafter, my bonus, stock options, vacation time, is negotiated separately and distinct. So I would think everybody would want that respect. So there's nothing in aggregate when it comes, base salary is base salary. So if it's 160, it's 160, and that's all I want to say.
Going back to the salary, Madam President, as I mentioned, the range is actually, that is actually the range, and the individual will be making more than the starting salary. That's pretty much what there is no other option. Another thing that you mentioned is we need to bring individuals at the water treatment plant to competitive numbers. That's actually something that we try actually doing with the union. We asked them to consider perhaps breaking from the 2281 to a 2281 something, so that we could take care of those individuals in the water treatment plant, because those were it would have given us a better ability for us to be able to increase salaries there, because yes, they are a specialty. And we were turned down. Not that we were trying to do a union buster there. It's just that we felt that we would have had more abilities to compensate those individuals because of their knowledge and, of course, their licenses. One of the things that we discussed a couple of days ago, Madam President, was that we also want to adjust salaries across the board for other people that have other licenses at the water treatment plant, not just the superintendent, but everyone else coming behind the superintendent on both sides, the water treatment, water distribution, and then sewer. So we want to do a more comprehensive but because this was something that we needed to take care of. This is why you only have one title in front of you tonight, and not the titles of everyone else that is actually the individuals that make up those other sectors, if I can call them sectors, within the Trenton Waterworks. Because we have distribution, we have treatment, we have distribution, and then we also have sewer.
Seafood.
Collection, yes.
So is there going to be a motion to introduce or amend, or what is the desire?
I think that we want to amend it to 125 starting.
So what's the top, what's the maximum?
I thought I was doing well. I was doing water treatment place. You're ready. I know, right?
Listen, council, vice chair, let's take the meeting over. I'm not so lost, so I'm just gonna exit it.
So is there a motion to amend ordinance number 19-85?
So move motion to amend ordinance 19-85.
Let me read the amendment to.
Oh, yeah.
To amend the salary, the range being 125,000 to 161,000. Motion was made by Ms. Vaughn, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Blakely. Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Ms. Caldwell Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Rochelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Ms. McBride? The amendment has passed. Is there a motion to introduce ordinance number 19-85 as amended? Moved by Mrs. McBride, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Caldwell Wilson. Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Ms. Caldwell Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Harrison? Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
And Ms. McBride?
Yes.
This ordinance has been properly introduced. We'll have a public hearing. Second reading will be held on January the 9th, 2020. Would you like to please go over ordinance number 19-40? 19-4, or do you want to go back to the other resolutions?
I want to just do 8-4, that's the last ordinance anyway, right?
That's correct. On first reading, that is correct. And let the record reflect that Mrs. McBride has left the meeting. So the next item for your consideration will be ordinance number 19-84, which is an ordinance to repeal or amend certain sections of ordinance 19-75 that creates the position of Assistant Business Administrator in the Department of Administration, fixing the salary ranges therefore, and setting forth certain regulations for the implementation of the same to ensure the City of Trenton is compliant with the law pursuant to the Faulkner Act and GSA 40:69A-60.3 and the Trenton City Code Section 2-212 of Assistant Business Administrator. Is there a motion to introduce this ordinance?
So move.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Vaughn, seconded by Ms. Caldwell Wilson. Mr. Blakely?
Mr. Cruz, can you share your opinion of this ordinance?
So, the context of the council was that this ordinance was not actually lawful because it was, there was a misrepresentation that the city was not above the 300,000 residents, and that is why it was in violation of the state statute to have an assistant business administrator. We have reached out. First of all, DCA signed off on the waiver, which means that it is lawful. We were asked to reach out to civil service. We reached out to civil service, and civil service answered, I believe it was 4 questions. And one of those questions that was answered was actually, can the city of Trenton, even though it's below the 300,000 residents, adopt the position of assistant business administrator? And it was very clear based on their answer, which we provided on a timely fashion as requested by council, that the city is not in violation of that statute. We are in compliance, and that the city can adopt the ordinance to appoint an assistant business administrator.
So the concerns outlined by my colleagues, which I think, I appreciate, are not legitimate. There's a question.
Wait, I'm sorry.
The concerns that my colleagues outlined regarding the legality of the assistant business administrator position are not legitimate in your views.
Well, yes, that is correct. We actually are within the law, and the state statute actually, protect the city in appointing an assistant business administrator.
Furthermore, I would like to say that this increase in salary is for someone who is a long-standing Trenton resident who has been a member of city government for some time without any raise. And so we just had a ordinance that we consider to increase the salary of the water treatment superintendent, talking about making their salaries competitive to prevent them from leaving and going to greener pastures. Would you agree that this ordinance is to do the same to retain the critical talent that keeps this city moving in your office?
Yes, I would say yes. The goal of the administration is actually to appoint someone who is currently working for the administration, even though it still has to go through civil service rules and regulations. There are steps that we need to take, meaning we have to post it, we have to send it to the state. The state will probably call for a test, and the person will have to apply for the position, and the state will determine based on their procedures if the person qualifies to be appointed permanently assistant business
So
administrator.
there's no question that that position, assistant business administrator, is legal in a Faulkner Act city like Trenton.
That is correct. We will not be moving forward if we were in violation of the Faulkner Act. Another thing is that
DCA has attested to that, our law department has attested to that,
civil service.
and civil service.
Yeah, so it's been 2 different bodies that have actually concurred with us that we are within the law to appoint someone. And this is just going back to what we keep saying, that we need to take care of Trentonians that are qualified. This is actually somebody that was literally born and raised in the city of Trenton.
Oh, yes.
So we've been around, we've discussed this. Tuesday, we've discussed this several times, and we're just rehashing the same things. I would appreciate it if you move forward with this.
Yes, I'm
But
done.
I have one question to Vice President Cole.
Oh, no, sorry, no.
Before you go to vote.
No, I have, no problem.
So my vote is going to be no. I misunderstood the point, that's all the word. voting to consider the ordinance, but we're voting on the actual ordinance, and so I'm voting no.
For the assistant
So I'll read the title of the ordinance again for clarity.
Let's read it for clarification.
Yes, ordinance number 19-84 is an ordinance to repeal or amend certain sections of ordinance 19-75 that creates the position of Assistant Business Administrator, Department of Administration, fixing the salary ranges therefore, and setting forth certain regulations for the implementation of the same to ensure the city of Trenton is compliant with the law pursuant to the Faulkner Act NJSA 40:69A-60.3 and the Trenton City Code Section 2-12 titled Assistant Business Administrator.
Mr. Harris, I do not have a copy of that ordinance. Who's fighting this ordinance?
I am.
And I knew nothing about it.
Could I ask a question, Mr.?
When we get to your, before you vote.
Well, you said you discussed it.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. You may proceed.
Mr. Blakely says no. Mr. Harrison?
No.
Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Before I vote, I just have a couple of questions that I want to ask the business administrator. Okay. My issue with this, and I've done my research as well, and I don't know who at DCA signed that waiver, but it is in violation. The law clearly states that municipalities over 300, the Department of Administration may appoint a business administrator if it's over 300. The Faulkner Act says nothing about municipalities under that threshold. Secondly, you're in violation of the city code. Forget the Faulkner Act. The city code, chapter 2-12 says the business administrator, with the approval of the mayor, may designate a member of his or her staff to be the assistant business administrator who shall act for or in the place of the business administrator in his or her absence, and shall have such functions, powers, or duties as may be assigned by the business administrator. So you do not have the authority to hire a business administrator in a classified civil service role in the city of Trenton. The only time you will have an APA in this city is when you are out of office. And you can appoint that designee as the business administrator in your absence. So, and that's all I'm going to say about that, and my answer is no.
So I'd like to address.
I'm sorry, my answer is yes, excuse me.
We haven't got to you yet to vote.
Yes, Ms. Vaughn, and now Ms. Caldwell Wilson.
No.
I voted yes.
Yes, you voted yes. I've recorded your vote. Ordinance number 19-84 failed in introduction. I'm sorry, I just stand corrected. Well, yeah, it's 3-3, so it's not failed in introduction.
We're going to take a 5-minute recess. Certain folks have to take a bathroom break.
Recess for 5 minutes. This meeting is back in order. Let's call the roll really quickly, please. Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Ms. Caldwell Wilson? Mr. Harrison? Mr. Michelle? Mr. Rodriguez? And Ms. Vaughn? We will continue on with the agenda and consider new business. First for your consideration will be the resolutions that were requested to be roll call. First one will be resolution 19-659. This is a resolution consenting to the continuation of acting director of water and sewer Stephen Pico to the Department of Water and Sewer for 90 days. Is there a motion?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Blakely, seconded by Mr. Harrison. Mr. Blakely? Yes. Ms. Caldwell Wilson?
Yes.
Mr. Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle?
No.
Mr. Rodriguez?
No.
Ms. Vaughn?
No.
Ms. Coleman Wilson is in the affirmative. So resolution 19-659 did not pass by the majority vote.
I have a president, acting President Paul Wilson. I'm literally back. I can't believe it. I'm shocked.
Just going to keep it short.
Yeah, I will. I mean, this is really, we are leaving the waterworks rudderless. I mean, these folks are arsonists. The folks who are voting against improvements and upgrades, and now the waterworks doesn't even have a leader. I mean, this is like completely irresponsible. It's outrageous. And a dereliction of duty. I'm just baffled. I'm shocked, appalled. I mean, this is abhorrent. It's like these folks are committed to gift wrapping the Trenton Waterworks to the DEP. They've spent so much time talking about the potential of a state takeover and how that would not be optimal. And simultaneously, they are removing a director that is one of the top water directors in the country. Why? Are you guys committed to the failure of the Trenton Waterworks? Right now, Trenton Waterworks does not have a director. This is outrageous. I just can't believe it. I mean, just when I think you guys have gone low, you guys pull out a bulldozer and go lower. Shameful.
Next is resolution number 19-663, which is a resolution authorizing reopener in occupational claims settlement for workers' compensation claim in the matter of Connie Deeroff versus City of Trenton, claim petition number 2011-33854 and 2008-11766, and the claim amount of $130,213.10, including attorney fees and costs. Is there a motion?
Second.
Moved by Ms. Caldwell Wilson, seconded by Mr. Blakely. Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Ms. Caldwell Wilson?
Yes.
Resolution 19-663 has passed. Next is resolution 19-666, which is a resolution authorizing increases in emergency appropriations to the state fiscal year 2020 temporary budgets of the city of Trenton, current fund in the amount of $723,000. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Blakely, seconded by Mr. Harrison. Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Ms. Caldwell Wilson?
Yes.
Resolution 19-666 has passed. Next is resolution 19-669, which is a resolution authorizing $225,818 in emergency solutions grant, sub-grant agreements with various community-based organizations to provide housing and supportive services to the homeless, disabled individuals, and families in the city of Trenton. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Harrison, seconded by Mr. Blakely. Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Ms. Caldwell Wilson?
Yes.
Resolution 19-669 has passed. Resolution 19-673, which is a resolution awarding a contract to a fair and open process to Barton and Louise Incorporated for asset management and program assistance in an amount not to exceed $201,827. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Blakely, seconded by Mr. Harrison. Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Mr. Harrison? Mr. Michelle? Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Ms. Caldwell?
Yes.
Resolution 19-673 has passed. Next for your consideration is the consent agenda, which will consist of resolutions 19-655 to 19-658, 19-660 to 19-662, 19-664, 19-665, 19-667, 19-668, 19-670 to 19-672, and 19-674. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Rodriguez, seconded by Mr. Blakely. Mr. Blakely?
Yes.
Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Mr. Michelle?
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
Ms. Caldwell Wilson? The consent agenda items have been approved. We did the ordinances for first reading and introduction already, so next on the agenda will be public comments. When your name is called, please come to the podium and again state your name and address for the record, and please keep your comments to less than 10 minutes. Mr. Tracy Gray, or Tracy Gray, I should not assume it's a Mr. Tracy Gray. It's not in the house. Mr. Clough has passed. Mr. Syfax is no longer present. And Aziz Bey.
Hello, my name is Aziz Bey, Vice President of NEA. I'm here to state that when we do these cleanups, the city only drop off dumpsters. And we have colleges, students from College of New Jersey and the College of Idaho help out, and a few of the community people that live in that area help out. That's the only thing that only people that help out. So if anybody else saying that somebody else is helping or doing the job, no, we out here doing it physically. That's all I have to say.
So the factuality is there's no city workers when we're doing cleanups.
The only time city workers out there is to drop the box off in one truck. With one driver will sit in the truck and wait till we finish filling up that box.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to address the governing body at this time? Again, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
But there are city workers that do go out. They were out there in the river section Saturday and cleaning up the neighborhood. I think when it was made, when the statement was made, it spoke to everyone. And whether it be someone brings a dumpster out, there are city workers that go out, take their time off from their families, and clean up the whole city. So that's what I need to say. Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else that would like to address the governing body at this time? Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing? Moved by Mr. Blakely, seconded by Mr. Harrison. Mr. Blakely? Yes. Ms. Caldwell Wilson? Mr. Harrison? Yes. Mr. Michelle? Yes. Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Vaughn?
Yes.
And public comments are closed. Next on the agenda are city comments.
Councilman Blakely.
Yes, thank you, President Caldwell Wilson. This is truly the night before Christmas. I am appalled that this body has decided to leave the Trenton Waterworks rudderless. It is the height of their responsibility. It is not prudent. And we will rue the day that my colleagues have failed to defend public health and ensure that the Trenton Waterworks is ours. My colleagues have spent a lot of time talking about how the Trenton Waterworks could remain in Trenton while they are doing the most damage.
Just say something, Mr. Harris. I just want you to take note that Ms. Bonner and Mr. Santiago.
And they can run, but they can't hide from the consequences of their decisions. And so, shame on them, shame on their actions. And while they smile, the city of Trenton will have to reap what they have so sadly sown. Happy holidays, everyone. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. But trust me, we will hear the implications and the lack of positive developments today, tonight, into the new year. Thank you very much.
Councilman Harris.
First, I'd like to say, on call 19-73, 19-74. We're talking about moving city forward. DEP wants to move the city forward. It seems like the council has their own agenda. It doesn't seem like they're really concerned about moving the city forward. Mr. Pico, director, seem to come here always to answer questions. I'd like to thank all the directors, because I'll tell you, at the end of the day, you guys are the ones that have been listening to our concerns, listening to people's concerns, trying to move the city forward. So I want to say Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa to everybody. So,
real fast for Mr. Pico. Tuesday he wasn't here for a meeting. He had Mr. McIntyre sitting in place for him. He's up for his 90-day period. Today he didn't show for whatever reason. I made a call asking if he couldn't be here. I mean, to me it's important if you're going to be put in for another 90 days, at least administration would stand up and say, he's sick, he's out of town, he can't make it. Anything. Nothing was said. Not to me, it wasn't. So I could judge what he's doing. A man that's up for 90 days to extend his contract. We didn't hear from Tuesday or Thursday. That's why I voted no. And for everyone else here, have a nice holiday. Thank you.
Mr. Cruz, can you tell me why Mr. Pico wasn't here tonight?
Sorry.
Can you tell me why Mr. Pico was not here tonight?
I couldn't respond. I saw members of his team here. I assumed that they were going to be taken on because about 3 members of the potential water work here, and I don't know what happened.
So, Mr. Harris, what is our process again for them bringing this back?
You can bring this resolution to be presented and the body can vote on it again.
And have Mr. Pico present to answer the questions.
Thank you.
Okay? No further business. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor? This meeting is adjourned.